see. So it is now, well, I'll just call it 3 o'clock. All right, so I don't see any members of the public, so we will continue on. Charlie, did you get the minutes in your email?
Yes, I did.
Good.
It looked good.
Yep, they look great. Did you see anything you want to change, add,
No.
subtract?
No, nothing.
All right. All in favor of accepting the minutes?
Aye.
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 You want to accept the minutes, Charlie?
Yes, you didn't hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I said aye.
So those are done, so unanimous. And so who's posting these?
I'll do that when I get home tonight. It was on my to-do list, I didn't get it done today.
Okay, we can't post until we approve.
But I
so-
didn't do last month's either, so
Oh,
I'll
them
do,
both at the
I'll do
same
both
time,
at the same
yeah.
time.
Okay, thank you, thank you. All right, so I've still continued to be in communication with Pam Latimer from HCAN, and I'm supposedly going to a meeting, I believe next week, but she's got to get back to me on like the location and all of that. So next month I can report back, but I'm just going to finalize our commitment. And Glenn, what we were saying that what I'd like to do for that Earth Day thing is man a table. I don't want to get involved in any of the planning or the running of it or anything like that. And I'd like it to be mostly heat pumps.
Okay.
Information, and so I'm going to get some information from Cape Light Compact about the rebate offers, the list of approved vendors for our area, they have that as well. Some just general, how does a heat pump work type of thing. I found some excellent videos, and I can loop them. I can bring my computer and just loop them on at the table. The different kinds of heat pumps, and just general information. I think that would be our content.
Valerie?
Yeah.
If you could show some cost savings that's a payback time. Let's
That's
say
terrific
for the
idea.
higher efficiency ones or something.
Right.
Assume a certain level of efficiency for the ones that they have, and it's so. If you could say it's like a 3-year payback or something, that might be more of an inducement.
Right, particularly with the
Just showing
rebates
them,
that are out there.
data about it.
Yeah.
I think you need something like that
Right.
to tell this stuff.
Yeah.
And what is the day for the Earth Day again?
I think
The 22nd
Well,
of
Earth
April?
Day is the 22nd, but I can't remember exactly what, they're
On what
having it on a Saturday around there.
In what month?
April.
Oh, okay, April 22nd.
Yeah, it may not be exactly the 22nd because,
I recall Pam talking about the 22nd.
okay, because that is Earth Day.
I don't know where I got that from,
Yeah.
but I think
we
from
will,
her.
We will obviously get back, we'll nail that exact date down. I think they want to do it on a Saturday. So.
Yeah, and interest people like Charlie is saying because of the savings, because most people don't get motivated
Right,
to protect the planet.
Right, they want to
They
save
want
money,
to
right.
save money.
Right.
That's the biggest motivation.
Yeah, and with the heat pump, it's not, the savings is not as obvious because the cost of the system is high.
Very high.
So, you have to show them where the rebates are,
Right.
and then from there, you have to show them, like, if they're using gas, or oil.
Motivate
What I
them.
am finding, maybe you can help with this, Glenn, what I am finding difficult to, the information that I am not finding readily available is for people who heat with oil and have radiator, forced hot water. If you have hot air heat to begin with, it's a no-brainer. You can convert to a heat pump easily because you just use the same ductwork and that type of thing. But if you have radiators, or like we have radiant heat, like we have in-floor heat, which is actually quite efficient. So we need to do a little more research, and again, I'll ask Cape Light Compact as well, but we need to do a little more research on oil conversion. Like if you are if you're using hot water to heat with, and you're burning oil, or even if you're burning gas in hot water, I think it's a little more expensive to convert, and it's a little more complicated. So that's.
It may be something like one of those Mitsubishi split units that you'd want to consider or something.
Well, I mean, that's an option, but here's the deal. Like if you have a big house and you have already got it, particularly for us, we have radiant in-floor heat. I mean, that's a lot of infrastructure to abandon.
Yes.
And just put, and I don't, to be honest with you personally, I do not like forced air heat. I find it very drying, I find it very dusty.
It is very drying.
And the radiant heat that we have is wonderful.
Of course.
And we love it. So all we would.
I agree with you about the dryness. You have to put a humidifier in your system
I did.
in order to make
It
not dry.
helps,
I itch off all the time when I'm up there in the wintertime. When I get down here to Florida where it's humid, there's no itching at all, and they don't have that humidifier.
Right.
It's already humid down here.
Right, but the other thing is, radiant in-floor heat is a very nice way to heat your house. It doesn't create drafts, anyway. So if you already have radiant heat, how do you get a boiler? And you can, I mean, I did find some information where you have the unit, the heat pump heats water in like a big tank, and then that tank feeds into your radiators, basically.
They've got stuff that's out there that is tankless, on demand,
But we have that for our hot water, that's gas, yeah.
but you can get an electric one. But my question would be, you know how much water you need for a shower
Right.
and whatnot, but are those units large enough to support heating your house with radiant heat?
Right.
I don't know the answer to that.
Right, and I think that would be more expensive than a heat pump, because then you're just.
Have you heard about these Mitsubishi split units where people can pump when they don't even have any infrastructure like you're talking about?
Yeah,
they don't have any.
I have one of those. I have one of those for air conditioning.
Most
Because
people-
I have hot water heat.
Yeah, when people think about heat pumps, mini splits is the first thing that the average person.
And that's the cheapest you can do, is this mini
What
split.
is a mini split all about?
Mini split, it's a device that most people look at it as, lots of people put them in because they don't have air conditioning, they don't want to have window air conditioners, so they'll put them in so that it's, I don't want to say it's a cheaper way because they're not cheap, but it's a way for them to put in air conditioning in their home.
If you don't have like hot air, so you don't have any kind of vents, but you want
Yeah.
air conditioning.
And you mount it on the outside
Right.
of your house.
Right.
And it can also, people don't realize that you can also pull energy out of 55-degree air
Yeah, we use ours for heat too. Yeah.
and use it for heat. But most people, they look at it as a solution to their air conditioning needs, and a lot of people don't even realize that it's a solution for their
Right.
heating needs.
And so what we
also.
use our mini split for, air conditioning in the summer, and then just to take the chill off the air. Like in the fall and the spring, when you don't really want your whole boiler to heat up and that type of thing, because it's going to get warm later, but the morning is chilly, we just turn on the mini split and it heats.
So your house, you have a combination of radiant heat in the floors
Yeah.
and the mini split?
Yeah. We have the
That's
one
nice.
mini split downstairs, which air conditions the entire downstairs.
And why is it called mini and why is it called split?
Because it splits, like if you had an air conditioner, like a window air conditioner, it's all in one box, right?
Yeah.
Well, the mini split, there's a unit that goes in your house that has like the blower,
Okay.
but all the refrigerant is outside in a compressor.
Oh, okay.
And sometimes you'll see it installed where they'll have like round ductwork going up on the outside of a house, which is ugly, but you see that more and more if people just don't have the option. And if they can put it on the back of their house, they don't
Yeah.
care what it looks
Yeah.
like. But
So there's all different configurations that you can do with it. So anyway, so I think, your homework is to look into heat pumps.
okay.
Find out as much as you can about heat pumps.
So You want all of us
Yeah.
independently?
Yeah, just go,
Okay.
just, you know, when you're.
Educate ourselves on
when you're- yeah,
heat pumps.
Educate yourself so you understand what heat pumps are.
Are we gonna limit it to just heating and air conditioning, or are we gonna limit it to, there's a heat pump, I think that they use for groundwater, or ground,
There's
water with
three,
Geothermal.
Charlie, there are 3 different types of heat pumps. There's one that is the air source, which is what a mini split uses. It just takes the heat out of the air. There's also a ground source heat pump, which is when they put the pipe down into the ground. And there's a water source heat pump where they actually put the pipes like in a lake or a pond or that type of thing.
Never heard of that.
Yeah, we don't, yeah.
Are we limiting it, or are we including all these?
We're all of
areas?
them. We're going to include all of them. The ground source is the most efficient. It's also the most expensive because you got to put the pipes way down in the ground.
To drill a well.
Yeah,
right?
there's like a lot of more infrastructure that you have to have, but once it's in, it's the more efficient way to
We
go.
were looking at that green community, they had all these evaluations already done, and they had the dollars savings and all this. Do you think there's anything on some kind of a mass energy website or something for all this?
I
sure
don't
there
know.
is.
We can look, and I will also be talking to Cape Light Compact. I mean, they have information
Well,
too.
yeah, so first of all, have we made the decision that that's the only topic we're covering is heat
I
pumps?
think that's going to be we're going to be,
Okay.
rather than, we will have, I mean, we could have a little blurb about what the Harwich Energy and Climate Action Committee, you know, we can have a little, that's who we
Flyer.
are.
Yeah, that's fine.
But this is our topic, because they're going to have many other tables there. I think other people are going to be talking about solar and,
Okay.
you know, other things, and I think that
Well, that's a good idea. just to
Yeah, I
do one
like
thing.
something
just a one topic.
practical.
Yeah,
So let's get back to what
Yeah.
you just mentioned, Cape
Yeah.
Light Compact.
yeah.
I know depending upon who you get your electricity from, drives what you get for rebates.
No, it's not where you get your electricity from. It's what your heat source is. So Cape Light Compact is allowed to service
Okay.
oil and propane customers, but they're not allowed to service customers that heat with gas. Now,
That's
they
me.
give them electricity. They are Cape Light Compact electric customers, but because they heat with gas, National Grid gets to claim them.
Because
We're fighting that.
my mother lived in a town that had a municipal electric company.
Mm-hmm.
And they couldn't get a rebate either because it was Westfield Gas and Electric. And I don't know why they
National
can't.
Grid offers the same rebates as Cape Light Compact,
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
because it's all from Mass Save.
Oh, okay.
So your mother, today, I think even the municipals could,
I don't know, I just talked to her neighbor the other day
Yeah.
and she was trying to get it,
so they're not paying into the system. That's the problem, yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's what
So
it is.
all of us pay into this.
Okay, so here in Harwich,
We're paying.
pretty much everybody has the opportunity for these rebates.
Exactly. Now, whether
Okay.
you get it through National Grid or through Cape
So
Light
that'll be
Compact.
a part of the information that will roll out on.
Exactly. And that also it would help people to understand who they should contact,
Yep.
so they don't have to
But-
make multiple phone calls.
But the most important thing is the savings.
Yes, and I'm sure it's,
That's the key.
somebody has figured that out.
The
And-
savings and the payback. you
Yeah,
know how
and
quickly it is.
scenarios, if you have an old unit,
Mhm.
you are the ripened fruit,
Right, you're gonna replace it anyway,
Yeah.
so this would be a perfect time
right,
to go with
to
a
consider
heat
it,
pump,
to look into it.
Yeah. So anyway, well, that's our homework, and then I think, in March, we can come back with what we know. I will have stuff from Cape Light Compact. We'll decide, what we're gonna do, and then,
Yeah,
I would add one thing. I think it's great, one topic. You just focus on that, do a
Yes.
good job on that. But I would also
Can
have,
we communicate with each other as we go along with this month if we find out stuff? I mean, we shouldn't all have to go searching.
yeah, I mean, if, you
I mean,
could,
is that allowed with the open meeting thing?
yeah, as long as we're just sharing information and not discussing it.
Okay. Okay.
We're not allowed to discuss anything through
Look,
email.
if we
What's
send
the
people
difference?
emails about a link to where they
Yeah.
can find a lot of this stuff.
Yeah,
if
we can
knew
create,
about that.
you know, like an ongoing email with links in it, and then we can share those links, and we can all sort of have access to the same information. All right, so
Right.
what were you saying, Lon?
I was just gonna say, because you're so familiar with Cape Light Compact,
Mm-hmm.
I would make sure that on the table, we have a fair amount of energy on just Cape Light Compact.
Right,
I
and
know
they're
we
gonna have a
focus
table
on.
too, you know, they'll be.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, yeah.
They have their own table?
Yeah, and they will be at the same event, you
Okay,
know.
then if
so-
that's,
yeah,
then forget what I just said.
yeah.
Okay.
So, anyway, so I think that will be our April thing, and so I think that will work fine. I think it's good for us to get up to speed on heat pumps, you know, because we're
Yes.
pretty familiar with solar, and I think we're
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
there with solar.
And it's critical, it's one of the critical things, solar panels and heat pumps.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
And often, they recommend you do both together,
Yeah.
because whenever you go to something that is going to use more electricity, they are trying to get people to think about putting solar panels to offset that extra cost of running the heat pump, so that you don't have a heart attack when you get your first electric bill after you install the heat pump.
Valerie, you know, it'd be nice if we could get somebody to predict what the reduction in electric costs are gonna be when they put all these wind turbines out, south of Martha's Vineyard there. If they could say it's gonna be down 50%, that would be a big deal.
I think that's pie in the sky. You will not see that happen. I don't think it's going to have any impact on the cost of electricity. All those wind turbines are doing is stabilizing electrical, the source of electricity. Because you have retired nuclear plants now and retired coal-fired plants, and so the wind turbines are really only just replacing retired infrastructure. The cost will be the same. Now, over time, 10, 20, 30 years down the road, hopefully, if we're not using fossil fuels anymore, we will see some savings, but I don't think anybody at this table is going to realize that savings.
Yeah, I'll have to say that, you know, I worked at a number of power plants, so I
Yeah.
know what their lifespan is.
Right.
So when I worked at an old coal plant that was built in 1960, usually you look at end of life, you know,
Right.
30-something years.
Right.
But because it costs so much to build new plants, we were just getting it to limp along for
Right.
50 years.
Right.
So you get a ton of money back, but back then, you didn't have computers designing all your piping and whatnot, so you design it with a higher safety factor, and so to make thinner pipes that, you know, if you have the computers to do the work, oh, we can do it with less material. So you got quite a few years out of a plant like that. In nuclear plants, they have 30-year licenses,
Right.
which they also ask to
Right.
extend for another 20 years.
Right, right.
So you're getting 50 years out of that. My question would be, like Charlie just mentioned about, you know, wind turbines, and you just mentioned after 20 or 30 years, what is the lifespan of a wind turbine and how much money are you
Right.
spending? I mean, are you replacing the blades every 5 years? I mean,
Right,
or
right.
is this just going and going and very little maintenance, and you're getting your payback over the years? It's just free energy
Right.
20 years from now.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that
Right,
question.
it's a new industry for us, it's not for Europe. I mean, they've
Yeah.
been running turbines for years. And I'm sure if you looked up that information, like from Denmark, for example, they probably have all of that. They probably will tell you exactly how long a turbine is rated to last, what kind of maintenance you have to do. In theory, the pole should be like forever, you know, type of thing. It's not, it's just a stationary pole. Marine environment is very harsh, you know,
Yeah.
so, but I'm sure that has been taken into account with the materials and that type of thing. So I'm thinking the pole is forever. But it's the nacelle, you know, it's where all the moving parts are. And that, I don't know, you know, it's the you know, I'm sure these companies, you know, there's different companies, and I'm sure like anything else, you know, each brand is gonna say ours will last for X number of years, and maintenance, you know, is, from what I hear, there's not a lot of maintenance involved in these things. I mean, it's just gears turning, basically. You have to make sure they're oiled and ready, you know.
Yeah, it's rotating equipment, just
Yeah,
like
so
a
there is
pump or
going
a
to be
motor is
some
rotating
friction
equipment.
and some, you know, So I don't know. And are they rated for the new Category 6 hurricane that they're predicting is going to happen? They're creating a new category that
They
hurricanes
will
only used to
flatten
go
us.
up to 5, but now they feel like they got to add a 6
Oh my
because
goodness.
they're getting more powerful. So all of that's
Boy, we will not exist and we will not be.
so anyway. So
Oh,
but
boy.
you're right. But to get back to the original question, Charlie, I don't believe that renewable energy in the near future is going to bring down the cost of electricity. The hope is that it will, but I think the more important savings is carbon at this point.
Okay.
So, anyway, so next thing on the agenda, so Tom came in and gave this wonderful, what they did, and so here's our question. Do we try to, theirs was very specific solar workshop. Do we stick with solar? Well, first of all, do we want to do something like that? Do we want to do it alone? Do we want to include other towns? Like, would Eastham want to do it again, but in collaboration, with us? Would Chatham be interested?
Yeah, I would be willing to contact Tom
Okay.
and ask, but first I would like to know what we feel.
Right, that's what we need to talk about that. It's a lot of
Yeah.
work, and there's not very,
I
he
think
has a big committee.
to have a cluster of local towns. You wouldn't want to have Eastham. I mean, Eastham did a nice job, but they're too far away from Harwich. I think where are you going to have a central location where you're going to meet and stuff like this? You're going to get people from Harwich to go up to Eastham or what?
Jackie did.
Yeah, I did. Well, that's a good question. I have thought about it, but my interest, Charlie, is to capitalize of their knowledge, their capabilities to organize, to put together such a phenomenal workshop. That's what I want. Now, I don't know if Tom would be willing to organize one for Harwich and Chatham and Brewster, because he was very, I don't know if you remember when he made his presentation last month, he was very open to collaborate with us.
Yeah.
What does that translate into? What
Right.
does collaborate mean? He was also very interested in reaching out, not staying confined, I assume, Eastham.
Right.
But I would have to ask him those
Right,
questions.
right. And I would be interested in contacting, us, like Energy Committee in Chatham, the Energy Committee in
Brewster.
the Energy Committee in Dennis,
Right,
our neighbors.
right,
Because it would make sense
yeah.
if we were going to see if
Mm-hmm.
they would be interested in doing anything in collaboration.
Yeah.
And if you could get 3 or 4 towns near us to do it, and then you could ask Tom if he would come and
Be consultant.
help coordinate it. Maybe that's the way you could spin
Okay.
it or something like that. But I don't think you could expect him to do all the work. He's just gonna get the wheels in motion and say, this is what you need to do. And if you had a joint meeting of the 4 different towns or the energy committees, maybe you could get some synergy that way. I don't know.
Well, there's going to be benefits of multiple towns, and there's going to be negatives of multiple towns.
Of course.
The benefits will be that you're going to reach more people, and you've got more people to help out in putting together the presentation and the workshop. The drawbacks are getting people from multiple towns to agree on certain
Right,
things.
right.
And I don't know, usually I find that people deal with these kind of issues are more agreeable people, and you don't wind up getting into all these, arguments. But it depends. It depends upon the town, whether or not they say, oh, yeah, I would totally love to do that. I say, we're our own little town. And thanks for asking, but we're okay.
And we won't know until we ask. The other option, of course, is to make it a smaller event and do it for Harwich, and not try to be an all-day
Ambitious.
workshop with, 4 different speakers and, that type of thing. But from last year when we did our little Tuesday morning seminars, we didn't draw a huge crowd. Making it on a Saturday might be different,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
so.
I agree.
Saturday, absolutely.
And this committee was before your time, but we had like a, what do we call it, an energy fair type of thing. And we used the big room over at the community center where the stage is. And we had like all kinds of vendors. We had people that were installing and selling solar panels. We had a tilapia farmer. We had, we had a bunch of different, energy and energy-related types of...
Was it well received and
Yeah, we had
well
about
attended?
probably 100 people came, and
So just
walked
like
through.
Eastham's workshop.
Yep,
about the same
and
time.
we had like a little break off in one of the smaller rooms. We had people talking, like doing presentations. So it has been done here. It was a lot of work. Because you have to contact all those people, you have to get it, you have to get your date, you have to contact the people, you have to get everything going. I would say that we couldn't do anything until the fall.
Yeah.
And I'm not that available in the summer because I'm working. But the other thing is to plan it for next spring. To give us a whole year to plan it. But it's I don't know if we need a whole year.
Well, I think the first question that you really have to answer is, there's 2 or 3, but we just went over them. Number 1 is, what's the topic? Because Tom did a really nice one on solar. Could we just copy what he did? Not reinvent the wheel, have him help us out. We put together exactly the same workshop here in Harwich. That would probably be easy if we're not reinventing the wheel,
Right.
and Tom helps a little bit. But the first question you have to ask, do we want to do this? And number 2, what's the topic we want to cover? Is it solar, is it something else? Then number 3 would be, once we make that decision, do we want to include other towns? Now, I'll report on this later, but I talked with Sean Hogan. What a nice kid. A really
Isn't
nice
he
kid.
nice?
He
Yeah.
is. And he helped me out a lot, but.
Refresh my
young-
memory, he was
He's the fellow from Barnstable that's there.
hired
He's
exclusively
he's hired
for...
full-time to be their sustainability manager.
Oh, terrific,
So,
yeah.
young kid, go-getter, and he would be the kind of guy that you would say, if we are going to include other towns, and I know it's Barnstable, but at the same time, he's full-time. You could take advantage of a kid like that and say, hey, because I think he'd like to do something like that, because
I
that'd
don't
be a
think
feather in his
Barnstable's
cap.
keeping him that busy.
Yeah, I don't know,
But that's like a phenomenal tool for us.
well,
But he's been very helpful. He's
yeah,
been given permission to help.
he answered a bunch of questions for me.
Yeah.
you know,
So anyway, here's the thing. Okay, so it sounds like we would be interested in doing something, to help the public get more information about things like solar.
And participate in the transition that we are going through, because we are
Right,
going through
right,
transition.
My feeling is, I think the solar stuff, I don't know, there's been so many workshops and so much information, and I think the people that want to do it have done it. It's,
I don't know. I go into Costco, and when I go in, there's somebody selling solar. He's never got anybody in front of him, so people either, they've already made the decision. My house doesn't face in the right direction.
Right.
I've heard horror stories. I don't want to lease the equipment. And my
Right.
neighbor had the roof damaged.
right,
So, yeah, your question of how many people are we going to get? Now, Eastham got 80 people, so they were able to get a decent turnout. I'm ambivalent. That's a fine topic, but so are other topics out
Right,
there.
right.
I don't know which one would
Right.
provide the most
Or
value to
is it,
Harwich.
or do we broaden the scope and do call it a sustainability workshop? And talk a little bit about solar, about heat pumps, electric vehicles, and that type of thing. So it's not just focused on one thing, but we make sure we have a speaker for solar, a speaker for EV, and a speaker for heat pumps, and, you know, maybe a couple of vendors for those things. And so so if I'm a Harwich resident, I've already decided I'm not going to do solar for whatever reason, maybe I would be considering the heat pump or electric vehicle, or, you know, so, I don't know, I mean, it's,
Yeah, that's a very valid point, I
Yeah.
think, very valid, because if one doesn't work, the other is there.
right, to do something, you know?
Yeah, do something, yeah.
Yeah.
You remember that Dick Elkin presentation that I tried to get
Yes,
us on the community
Right,
TV
right.
thing? That was encompassing those three
Oh,
areas.
Charlie,
Pretty
didn't-
good. Yeah,
I don't know if I
remember,
told
was
you.
it, who was the other person that resigned recently from our committee? She was trying to get the...
oh, Roseanne, yeah,
Yeah, she was trying to get the town, that community TV station to show it, and they didn't want to do it, or they...
right, whatever, yeah, yeah. Did, you got the,
Remember all that? Well,
yeah, I
we
did,
still-
yeah,
We still can get access to all those things, and
Yep.
of course, Dick Elkin's gone now.
Right,
but,
right.
He did a good job with all that kind of
yeah.
stuff.
phenomenal.
Yeah. There are other people that are going to take his place, but, so anyway, I think for the month of, from now until our March meeting, keep this in the back of your thoughts. I think we have to focus on heat pumps from now until March, so that we're prepared for the Earth Day tabling situation. And, but keep thinking about, do we want to
Yeah,
just do Harwich? Do we want to reach out to other towns? Reaching out to other towns is good, but logistically, it's
it's a
going to take a
monster.
while, you know,
It's a
because by the
monster.
time you contact them and they meet and talk about it.
Yeah, and like he was saying, the politics,
Yeah,
which is
and-
unavoidable.
Right, right. Now, if we did something here in Harwich, I would absolutely invite every single member of every energy committee on the
Yeah,
Cape. You know,
yeah,
I'd go, you know that, how we meet once in a while at Cape Light Compact, all the energy committees get together. And Liz Argo kind of runs everything. Yeah, so I would, she has the database, we could blast it to all the energy committees.
Right,
You know, and they
right,
could
right.
definitely put it out to their towns and,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, so it's not like we would invite
Yeah.
anybody who wants to come. You wouldn't
Yeah.
have to be a Harwich resident, you know, to come
and
to it.
how would you capitalize of the knowledge of Tom and company?
The what?
How would you, how can I put it, benefit from the organizational skills and knowledge of Tom?
Well, Tom, I would talk to him about like the speakers that he had. You know, who were they? You know, does he still have their contact information? You know, that
Well,
type of thing.
they were at Cape Light Compact.
Yeah, I mean, we can get those people ourselves.
Yeah.
Self-reliance, I'm on the board there too.
It's
so,
it's
you
the
know.
the organization behind the publicity.
Yeah, I mean, we can still use his I think we should still study his outline, you know, that he gave us. Like, how far ahead did he do this? How, you know, because I think that is sort of universal.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
sort of give us sort of a goal, you know, that
Yeah.
we should have all of this type of thing in place. Like, the first thing we should do is you need a venue and a date.
Yeah,
Because everything hinges on that, because you can't
Yeah.
invite somebody to speak until you tell them when you want them to speak.
yeah.
You know, so we would have to decide what is a good date,
Yeah,
secure the building,
yeah.
you know, and then
Where do you think we would have it if we were to do our own? Would it
it'd
be
have to be at the
center?
community center.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's the
There
only
is no
place big
other
enough.
place here.
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean,
Yeah,
that's,
yeah.
so that decision's easy.
Yeah. And there is no other choice.
Right, and there's parking and
Yeah.
that type of thing. If we did it in good weather, you know, like either late spring or the fall, the early fall, then we could, in theory, you know, try to get some of the car dealers to bring over some electric cars, you
Yeah,
know, to be in
yeah,
the
of
parking
course.
lot, people could go look at them. And,
Yeah, I would do that anyway, even if
Yeah.
it's raining.
But I mean, you can't control the rain, but
Yeah, yeah.
not have it in the wintertime, you know.
Yeah,
is what
no,
I'm saying,
of course,
you
of
know.
course.
Yeah, the shoulder months are good,
Right,
spring, fall.
and, you know, so I think if we can pick a date,
Okay,
maybe mid-October-ish,
okay.
you know, I think would be, you know, you're kind of before the holiday season, the weather's still fairly decent here, but it's after the summer craziness.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, people are,
Yeah, back to their normal lives.
right.
And they haven't left for Florida yet.
The frame of mind changes.
Yeah, you know, so.
What year are you talking about, 2025?
Well, I mean, I think, you know, at this point, I don't see why it couldn't be 2024.
You think
Unless
the-
we run into a problem scheduling of the.
Yeah, I'm thinking the elections, would that affect us?
Ooh, yeah, that's in November.
Yeah, that's, yeah, mid-October to the 5th, is it the 5th of
Well, don't they have to stop,
November?
it's just, yeah, whatever the first Tuesday in November is election day. But I don't know, a month before, I don't know if it'd be, it would be, I don't think it would, and we're not doing anything overtly political, I mean.
No, no.
I guess you could,
Well, I mean,
you could make a point, but. I mean,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't-
You're gonna give out bumper stickers as long as it's 100 feet away from the door.
yeah. So I don't think the election's gonna matter that much,
okay.
but, yeah.
Yeah, well,
As a matter of fact, it might work in our favor, because if we want like Julian Sear to come back, or one of those, the politicians would be happy to come and talk to us.
I would have him, because he's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's
We had him
really-
last year, and he did a great job.
Yeah, yeah, and he attracted a lot of people.
Yes, he did. So,
Yeah, no, he is a must.
if this is something that we want to do,
Okay.
we're going to think about heat pumps for April, but in the meantime, I will go to the community center and look to see what they have available in October.
Okay.
Saturdays in October.
Okay.
And talk to them about logistically if that's something that's possible.
You want me to do it?
If you want to, you know.
Yeah, I would be willing
Okay,
to.
just go talk to them and say,
Yeah,
you know, there's only,
awesome, yeah.
there's 4 Saturdays in October, so.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think we should do it on Columbus Day,
No.
so don't do it on that Saturday.
No.
I think whatever that day is, Indigenous Peoples' Day is what it is now. Columbus has been demoted.
Don't they have some kind of a thing for Harwich in the fall where?
That's in
Cranberry
September.
Fest-
That's in
Cranberry
September.
Festival or something like that. When is that held?
I think fall for Harwich or something like that.
it's like the second week in
Yeah.
September.
Yeah, because I don't want to,
Isn't that cranberry?
Yeah,
That there is no cranberries whatsoever.
because they're not ripe yet.
I attended, where are the cranberries?
Just people selling their wares.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we don't have a Cranberry Festival anymore?
We do, but it's basically an arts festival.
Okay.
It's called the Cranberry Festival just because
They
in
used to have a whole bunch of vendors at different locations.
yeah, they still have vendors, but it's not it's downsized from its original.
So we
iteration.
don't know when that is?
It's usually the weekend after Labor Day.
Oh, it's in September, not October.
Yeah,
then.
yeah, it's in September.
Okay.
Yeah, we want to stay away from like Windmill Weekend and Cranberry Festival and Seaside
Yeah,
Weekend because
and-
those are all in September.
Yeah.
Oyster Fest is the last week in October, but I don't think that's Wellfleet. I don't think that
Yeah.
we're going to have a lot of draw from Wellfleet. So,
No.
so if you can, for next meeting, if you can let us know if it's even possible. You know,
Okay.
what does the community center say?
Yeah, yeah.
Is this something that we could do?
Yeah, okay.
If it is, then we
Then-
can start to talk about who do
Yeah.
we want to be the speakers, how do,
Yeah.
do we want to get some vendors,
Yeah,
blah,
yeah,
blah,
yeah.
blah. So let's do that. And I'm sure that Tom would help us, like, in, like, our planning, like,
Yeah.
when should we, how did they, remember, they got some free advertising through the library.
Yeah,
So if we know it far enough in advance, the Council on Aging can get it into their brochure, the community center, you put it on the channel.
Maybe the library also could help us?
But I don't think anybody's gonna give us any money, but.
No, money, no,
But,
don't
yeah.
forget it.
Yeah,
And their website, you might be able to put something on their website
right.
to advertise.
And if we get it, if we know it far enough in advance, we can get it out there, like the town website could have it, the library and the community center, and, you know,
And 204,
and 204, we can advertise it over there, and if we get shut down at the community center, like it just is not possible, 204 would be the next place I would, hi,
Hello.
how can we help you?
What committee is this?
This is the Harwich Energy and Climate Action Committee.
Wrong committee.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can we get any funding from the town?
Nope.
no, forget it.
Yeah.
Money?
Yeah.
Do we have anybody you think, the local business that might want
Well,
to?
that's the, see, once we sort of say, okay, this is gonna be, we're having it on this date at this venue, then one of the things I was, remember we were talking about heat pumps, right? I was thinking about going to somebody like a Harwichport Heating and Cooling and Roby's and places like that and say, hey, you know, do you wanna be a sponsor of this? And do you wanna have a table? And we can't charge either because we can't take
No,
money from people.
and we
But
don't
we can
want to.
definitely have them
Have a sign up at the
have a.
venue saying,
Exactly.
Wait, what was that, son?
just having a sign up at the venue where we have it, when people walk in, it'll say, you know, supported by Harwichport Heating and Light.
Right, heating and cooling, yeah. Yeah, so we can, and, you know, Solar Rising might wanna
Yeah.
come and, you know,
Yeah.
that
Give
type
them,
of.
give them visibility.
Exactly.
And when you go and you talk to the community center, check on the first 2 weeks of November also. Just
Yeah.
because, I mean, if October's all booked up, first
But
2 weeks of
the
November.
town is not gonna wanna do anything that first week of November because.
Yeah,
of-
Oh,
the
like, I'm sorry,
elections.
for- I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
it would have-
forget November.
Yeah,
Okay.
if we can't do this fall,
Yeah.
then let's think about
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
April or May of
Uh,
next year.
Besides, I think these presidential elections are going to be out of the
Messy, and they're
ordinary.
gonna be messy.
Yeah, so we don't want to be part of that.
Yeah, so, you know, you can check for October,
Mm.
if it isn't, check for May
Yeah.
next
okay.
year. And,
Okay.
which might end up being better for us anyway because of just the timing of it all.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so that, I think we have or Tom, I'm sure would be willing to come even to meet with us again and help us like, okay, if this is our date,
Yeah.
okay, let's work backwards now.
Yeah.
When should we be doing what?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
what-
yeah.
What worked for you,
Yeah.
you know?
In other words, you're saying he could tutor us.
Exactly, you know, and he's already given us, you know, I kept my outline, you know,
Yeah.
that he handed to us. And we would study that and see what they did.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that'd be very helpful. And I'm sure that if we put it out to all the energy committees, they would put it out to their towns too.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Tom would put it out to his towns, the towns.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
So people in East End wanted to come, they could come.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. There's not a lot from Cape Light Compact. We used to be, I had my Cape Compact meeting and then I had this meeting. And it somehow, the Cape Light Compact had to switch their meeting, so I'm having it after this meeting, you know, so I don't have a lot new. There is some push to go back to a fuel blind assistance. So remember I just said that if you heat with gas, you have to go through National Grid for your energy audit and all of that. That is fairly recent. Cape Light Compact used to cover all of their electric customers, regardless of what you heated with. And then National Grid put up a fuss.
So Cape Light Compact only does people who are heating.
Electric, propane, or oil. Heat with electric,
Gas is the exception.
gas is the exception, right? Then you have to go to National Grid. I think that clock is actually broken. Okay, we're doing good.
That clock is not working.
That's broken, yeah. It's,
Yeah, it
it's
confuses me.
3:42.
So you mentioned, I've never heard that term, fuel blind assistance. That means they would also.
Wouldn't matter.
It wouldn't matter,
Right.
okay.
And so we are, I think there's a docket at the DPU contesting that, saying that we should be able to service any of our electric customers.
DPU stands for Department
DPU, Department of Utilities.
Utilities.
Utility
whatever.
control.
Anyway, so, but that's something for the future. I mean, that's going to take a while.
You want me to keep that out of the minutes or put it in?
Yeah, I don't need to put it in the minutes, just,
Okay.
you can just say there's,
Gotcha,
not much
gotcha.
new from Cape Light Compact at this point. They do have excellent programs now for low and moderate income. The rebates are phenomenal. If you have neighbors that, you think would benefit from this, I mean, if you meet certain criteria, they will pay for 100% of like your insulation, your, even like, they even have a program now which you have to apply for, but they'll put in a heat pump for free, solar panels for free, insulation for free. I mean, they do everything for free, so.
Okay.
Great programs out there.
Why is that coming out right now? I mean, who's pushing that?
Well, this,
The state
all
is
the
paying?
people involved in this energy efficiency
Mhm.
have been aware that who takes advantage of this? People that are fairly well off, I mean, most poor people are not driving electric cars, they're not installing heat pumps, they're not putting solar panels on their roof.
Yeah,
Probably
I
don't
s-
even own their house, that type of thing.
And I think they're intimidated,
Exactly, and they often are the ones that are working 3 jobs and raising kids, and
And
The
in
whole-
need of it,
the process is just
overwhelming.
draconian, So anyway, the state and all the providers have known for a long time that this whole energy efficiency has been leaving it, it's sort of a social justice issue at this point. They've been left behind, basically. And so the state is saying, you really need to focus right now on trying to close that gap. You need to be providing programs that can bring along low and moderate income people.
Is this trickled down from the governor or not necessarily? You just
I think it was sort of a,
joint
yes, it's
collaboration?
been written, the governor has mandated it at this point, but it has been something that the providers, all the, like the other organizations like Cape Light Compact have known for a long time, that they have not been serving those people well. Not for lack of trying. Cape Light Compact has always tried to serve these people and has tried, but they knew they had to go that extra step and had to make it free and make it not so complicated to apply. That's been the big problem. The paperwork involved in a lot of this stuff is just, anyway, so that's the big push right now, is to try to bring along some of these.
Simplify and bring
These people and make it a little more equitable across all socioeconomic strata, access to clean energy and energy efficiency and weatherization and, that type of thing. So that's been the big push recently for Cape Light Compact. Any new things from CVAC?
No, nothing to report for CVAC. I will say that, and I won't put this in the minutes, but we should be considering in the future a little bit stronger than we have been, that piece of property that we have, or other locations in Harwich. I forgot who used to say this, build, baby, build.
Yeah.
When it comes to solar panels, I see no negatives at all of building as much as we can in solar panels in the town. So if we have a piece of property, and going back to what we were just talking about with low-income benefits, there's something we can do there.
Yeah.
And I know we've talked about it's a treed lot, and you can sit and hand wring till the cows come home and not do anything. But if we have a piece of property that was earmarked for something like that, then maybe we need to start championing it more with the Board of Selectmen and saying, hey, we need to do this. But then we have to work with Cape Lake Compact on how we design a program that benefits low-income people in Harwich. Is there a way of doing that?
Yeah.
I know you gave me the name of somebody at Cape Lake Compact. but I
It
haven't
was
talked
at Self-Reliance, they run community solar programs at Self-Reliance.
Doesn't the town still own that, where that pet cemetery was gonna be?
No, they
tree?
sold that, I think they sold that.
Thank God.
No, they don't. But we still have the as-of-right sighting, remember that piece of property that we had
Yeah,
to?
but that's got all trees on it, right?
Half
That's what the-
trees, half trees.
I mean, half trees.
Half. It's not completely forested. There is some clear area. But the town said, the last time that we thought we might have somebody interested in it, the town said they would go in and knock the trees down. I mean, it's something to talk about. The thing that's the biggest concern, the biggest problem is the piece of property, number one, it's got trees on it. Number two, that we picked, I think, sort of like the minimum size that we could have for the green, to qualify for green communities, but it turns out that if you're a solar developer, bigger is better. And so you,
Yeah.
it doesn't have the acreage that some of these larger solar developers.
But it's in Cape Cod, so
Yeah.
it's not going to get any
So,
better.
The only thing stopping us, Glenn, from doing this is finding somebody who wants to develop it. That's the bottom line. It's not us.
Yeah.
The property is sitting there. It is legally only can be used for renewable energy, green stuff.
And who would do that, SVEC or us?
Hmm?
Who would do that if,
Would that be me going to CVIC?
So,
Well,
Did
the
anybody
CVAC
contact-
could be they would probably have more contacts. I mean,
yeah,
you know, they might be, even if they didn't want to be the broker for the project, they might be able to give us the names of some developers that we could contact, you know,
of course.
and say, we got this piece of property, you could put a solar farm on it, we would like to see it go towards, community solar. So anyway, the minimum, maybe they can give you some, if you contacted them and say, hey, do you have any names of like developers, people who are looking to develop some solar stuff?
I'll talk
Yeah.
with CVIC about that.
And
but-
if you go, trying to think, you could check in at the selectman's office. I don't know where we keep all of our like green communities information, but there was and I carried it around with me for a long time, and I don't think I still have it, like a picture of the lot that we have. But we might be able to, I don't know if I still have it or not. But the town, somewhere in the downstairs, I mean, there's gotta be, information about the piece of property,
can you take a
department?
picture if you find it and email it to us?
Who should I talk to? The select
You might have, the
Joe
assessors, maybe you,
assessors?
yeah,
Okay.
to see if they have a plot plan for it.
Do you have an address?
No, it's near the,
It's on Queen Anne though, right?
yeah, it's on Queen Anne. It's near the, dump. It's
So-
adjacent to the dump. It's kind of, there's a street called Forest Street, and it kind of like runs along that Forest Street at Queen Anne. Yeah.
First Street is there.
And is it owned by the town?
Yep. Owned by the town. It's-
No, I'm okay. Val, you don't
Yeah.
have to
isn't
get
that
far.
right
I got
across from
enough.
the landfill?
Yeah, it's near the landfill, but anyway, I might have it digitally, if I find it in my, my computer, I'll send it out. We've talked about it several times.
Yeah, I remember. I never saw anything, but I heard a lot.
Must have taken it out at some point. But anyway, so that would be, I think that would be a cool thing to have, a small community solar
Yeah.
project in town.
And Self-Reliance would manage it and,
I'm not sure, that would be, I could have, if we are interested in it, I could have Lindsay from Self-Reliance, because she's the person at Self-Reliance that oversees the community.
You've got enough on our table. I'll go
Yeah.
to the assessor's office, I'll get some
Just
information on
see
that,
it,
and I'll throw
because-
a couple things out
Right,
at
because
this
see,
evening.
they're just gonna ask you, how big is this piece of property, and you need to be able to tell them, where is this piece of property?
So I'll do some digging,
Yeah,
and follow
yeah,
through on that.
yeah.
Okay.
And it was called as of right siting. It was the clause within the green communities,
As of what sighting?
as of right. So which means that the town can't stop a company from developing it. They don't, they don't have to jump through as many hoops to develop it, because it's already been pre-approved as a, for a solar installation.
as for right
As
sighting,
of right, R-I-G-H-T, siting.
sighting,
Right.
S-I-T-I.
So it's a, yeah. All it means is,
Yeah,
it's been
freedom to
pre-approved.
move on,
Right, it's been pre-approved,
yeah.
for them. All right. So, Glenn, charging stations.
Okay. I talked to Sean Hogan, he gave me some good stuff, and I'm glad I talked to him, because I've got follow-up stuff I've got to do with Joe and with Eversource.
I guess they decided to keep Joe around, so.
Thank you for the email, and I didn't even know that he was considering it, so.
Well, they just, this week, voted on his new contract, and it was
Raise?
not unanimous.
There's a
Did he-
lot of animosity towards him, a lot.
It was not unanimous.
He has a funny personality. He
And
can be
obviously is
extreme.
looking to leave, so, anyway.
He's looking to the, oh, okay.
It is what it is, he's still here, and he's still our town manager, so.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
do they wind up having a meeting to discuss, extending his contract at a certain,
They only gave him a year.
For
Glenn,
more
did you
money?
have any luck with changing this from a level 2 to a level 3, or?
Well,
okay,
yeah, Glenn's gonna give his report now, okay.
Okay, Charlie, Val had talked to this new guy at Barnstable, who's their full-time sustainability manager. Very nice and very informative, and he didn't have to go digging for a lot of information, so I talked to him, and he gave me stuff that I'm glad I got from him before I've got to do some follow-up with Joe Powers and also with Eversource. So I'll just share the information that I got from Sean. So first off, we need to have another make-ready application done. So Barnstable's using somebody by the name of Innovis Energy, and he gave me the name and the contact for them. So he seemed to think that they were okay. And the last time I was on the phone with Chris Andre from Eversource, he gave me a list of approved vendors. So
Yep.
I'll cross-check that and make sure he's on the approved
Yep.
list.
Right.
But at the same time, Barnstable seemed to be okay with Innovis Energy, and that they're doing fine for them. So
And
I'll make sure that they're
how much do
approved.
they cost,
I don't think we pay for any of that.
Okay.
I think there's money out there for the make-ready process
Got it.
where we're not paying anything.
Okay, got it.
So I got that information. And when it came to the chargers, okay, and you forwarded the information to me too, that when you look at the ones that we looked at, the charge point, he didn't see anything wrong with charge point per se, but he said that the software that comes with charge point is like Apple software. It's proprietary, and you have to make that decision whether or not you want to go with charge point. If you can foresee any software issues down the line, they're the only ones that are going to be able to help you if they go out of business or whatnot.
Yeah, you're done.
You're SOL.
Yeah,
So he's looking at the makers of 8 to 9 different companies that make chargers. And we know that ChargePoint tends to be a kind of like the favorite for the state of Massachusetts, but Barnstable's looking at 8 to 9 different chargers. Okay. Now, I talked to him also about level 2 versus level 3 chargers. He's going through exactly that same issue right now. So there's little nuances of both. So a level 3 charger requires Eversource to do a little bit more work. So because you need more power for a level 3. So at least for our location, I think originally they were planning on a pull top transformer. If we go to a level 3, they would have to do a pad mount transformer. Now, a question that I have for Eversource is do we pay extra for that extra work as opposed to just doing the pull top? Now, Barnstable's doing a lot of work with a lot of chargers. I mean, we're not talking 1, 2, or 3. We're talking about a lot of chargers that they're putting in. So Sean has been given an offer by Eversource and by other contractors of doing a level 3 charger, a number of level 3 chargers for free. Okay, so like I said, I'm glad I talked to him before I go and I talk to Joe, because the other thing he told me is that a level 2 charger, like the ChargePoint that we've seen, which is not a big installation, it's a little concrete pad that can even be precast,
Right.
and those are only, $5,000. And the term port means that there's 2 leads that come off from them, so there's 2 ports. And he said that those cost around $5,000. He said if you go to a level 3 charger, you're talking about tens of thousands of dollars, meaning $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. So I need to get more information on that, and I'm going to sit down with Sean and pick his brain one more time before I sit down with Joe. But I want to have those costs and who's paying for what. And then, I can get Joe, because Joe wants to be the point of contact. I'm a member of a committee, he's the guy that has to do all the doing. But anyways, if Barnstable is able to get these free installations,
We tag along.
can we tag along?
Yeah.
Or say please?
Yeah.
But
Who's
that's,
paying for the free ones?
well, I don't
a
know all the
secret.
details of that, but like I said, there's a vendor out there who's doing it, so I'm sure that there's a package, that if you buy so many level 2s,
Buy 2, get 1 free.
but I don't know the details of why
Right.
they're offering up free stuff.
Right.
But Barnstable's gonna be a big customer,
Right.
so my assumption, but I will find
They're
out.
gonna get a much, much better deal than we will with our measly 1 or 2 chargers.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now that I found out that there's a big difference in the cost, now there's also, that when I talked to Eversource, that when there's a requirement, you have to have 2 ports of, I don't know if it's 50 kW or whatnot, to qualify, and that's a question I just want to verify. It's either 50 or 60 kW ports to be eligible and compliant if you're putting in a level 3 charger. So if I find out that a level 3 charger, put it in a nutshell, if I find out a level 3 charger is going to be $40,000, $50,000, I know what's going to happen in this town. They're going to say,
No.
never mind. So I know we all bought in when I said something last month about going to level 3, and everybody thought, well, yeah, that makes sense, Glenn, because you're going to be able to charge and get somebody out of there in half an hour. You're not going to have somebody that just leaves their car all day long. And, that's what I thought too. But if all of a sudden I have to go to the town and say it's going to cost tens of thousands of dollars, I'm going to want to avoid that and go back to just doing a level 2 if it's going to cost the town a bunch of money. But I really want to sit down with Sean and get the specifics on the freebies
Right.
and how he's doing that. And that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to sit down with him, and hopefully I'll be meeting with Joe Powers and talking with Eversource before our next monthly meeting. Once I get all the information from Barnstable, then I'll know exactly what we want to do. Because Joe Powers has a bad taste in his mouth from the last time we tried to do, electric chargers, or should I say electric vehicles. And I don't want to leave a bad taste in the select committee's, mouth as far as going forward. I want everything to be smooth and them not
Yeah.
balking at stuff.
Yeah.
So if I was to be guessing, I'd say we're going to go back to level 2s so that they're affordable, and and that's what we'll put in, at the place that we present it. But I know that Joe Powers would like to have additional locations, and when you go to that, there's other requirements for that, and there's green community requirements too that I need to read up on. And that stuff that you sent me, Val, that was great stuff. I mean, there's a couple of handouts there that had a lot of that information. I know that Joe said he had all that, but I don't know if Joe's
Right.
going through all of it. So I need to highlight it all and see what
You
bullet
put a
point.
level 2 in there, at some point in the future, could you change it out for a level 3? Or
That would be something that I would throw, that's a question I already have in my notes to go to Eversource, whether or not it's a level 2 or level 3, I'd say, hey, as far as expansion goes, if this charger works out, can I put another one in there? And Eversource, when you do your make ready, you know, would you be able to say, yes, you'd be able to, or no, you're gonna tell me I have to resubmit a whole nother application to make ready? That's a question I have for Eversource,
Well,
but
also talk to Sean, because there may be a reason why they want to do all 30 at the same time. You know, and that is something that if, you know, you can talk to Joe about, because if it turns out that you save a ton of money
Yeah.
by identifying pretty much everywhere you want them and doing
Yeah.
it as one
And what
project.
about the shuttle and the
Yeah, I
charging
haven't-
stations at 204
Yeah,
that died?
that, yeah, but 204 would be another place that we would put charging stations.
In the
Say again,
future?
Shuttle,
Val,
I'm not sure.
what's the other location you said you?
204, you know, the Sisson Road.
Yeah.
But so that's another, you know, when you talk to Sean, ask him, is the reason you're getting a good deal, is it because, are you doing all 30 of these?
Would you like to go when I go see you?
Yeah. Well, yeah, sure. If you,
Okay.
you know, let me know if I'm available, you know.
I'm in Florida, Charlie, for the next 2 weeks, but
Yeah, after
when I
that,
get
yeah,
back,
yeah,
then we'll sit
yeah.
down with
Where you
Barnstable.
going?
Where am I going?
Yeah.
My wife calls it the bums tour, which means you don't have to pay for any hotels, but we have friends that are in Sarasota that we'll spend 4 nights with, and my sister lives in Naples, so we'll head down
Couch
to.
surfing.
What's that?
Couch surfing.
Couch surfing, exactly.
Yeah,
You'll be
yeah.
right
Why
next door
not?
to us.
What town are you in?
Bradenton.
That's
Ah,
right, that's right.
Yeah, it's right by
Sarasota,
Sarasota,
yeah.
yep. As a matter of fact, I think that's where they are. I think they're in Bradenton,
Yeah.
so,
Oh,
Yeah, so good, you know,
so that's what I've got,
Yeah.
and I wish that we were moving faster, but I want to make sure that we do this right.
right, right. Yeah, and I think that the level 2 charger, so if you're, you can, you know, help us out here. So let's suppose I have an electric vehicle, I go to schoolhouse parking lot, I plug it in, I go to lunch at the hot stove, I come back, maybe I'm not completely charged, but at least I'm charged up a little bit, and I go on, you know, it may not be a complete charge, but,
Let me ask my son about
Yeah.
charge 2, because I know only charge 3. That's my only experience. It's very limited
yeah.
experience.
So if I'm plugging into a level 2 charger,
Yeah.
So you charge it at home?
Yeah.
You never really charge when you're out on the road?
On the road on charge 3, I make a point.
I'm going
I
to
make an
level 3.
appointment.
Is it usually a Tesla?
Yeah, it's always a Tesla.
It's always a Tesla charging
Always a
station.
Tesla.
Yeah.
That's the problem, you know,
Yeah,
that.
Tesla, that's the thing, is Teslas have more electric vehicles on the road than anybody else. You
They
know?
have the network.
Right, well, they were smart, they
They
put
were
the
very
chargers in first, then
Yeah.
they sold the cards. So they could sell it, here's your car, and here's a list of all the places you can charge.
Yeah, and they are online.
It's like, you know, Ford sells you an electric vehicle, they say, here's your car, good luck.
Now with Tesla, do you use any charge card, or do you have a Tesla card that you use when you use a charging station out on the road?
I go to a Tesla charger.
Yeah,
But how do you pay for it?
how do you pay
It's
for it?
already connected to my car.
Okay.
I don't
yeah.
need anything.
Yeah.
I just plug
And they
go.
recognizes your car and charges you.
And
Yeah,
then they bill you,
and they bill me, yeah.
and it just shows up on your,
On my credit card.
On your credit
or-
card.
Yeah, monthly.
so you don't need to use any kind of card once you get
Nothing.
there, because your car's got essentially Bluetooth, it's talking to the charger. As soon as you get there, it says, hey, Jackie, you're here.
Yeah, no, nothing. I have to do nothing.
Boy, they were smart. They were smart.
Oh, good.
It's all built in,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, so I think that we have our homework cut out for us. We're learning about heat pumps. We're thinking about, do we, you know, having a energy workshop,
The sustainability
a
workshop?
sustainability workshop, where we could kind of tweak it to,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
and then we're going to continue to pursue.
I mean, I'm not getting behind because it still has to go to the select board
Oh, yeah,
and to the
yeah,
town meeting in May,
yeah,
so,
yeah.
but I want to make sure that I'm not pushing the
Well, you have to
boundaries.
be careful if it requires a warrant. The warrants are gonna be due pretty soon.
What is
Okay.
the warrant?
The warrant is when all the items that are listed at the town meeting that you
yeah,
have to
yeah,
vote
yeah.
on, those are
Yeah,
called
yeah.
warrants.
Yeah, yeah.
And
What
if
terminology
you wanna
is
be
helpful for me?
included in that, because what has to happen,
Mhm.
if Joe has a certain amount of discretion up to a certain dollar amount, where he does not have to go before the town. Like, if it's under, I don't even know what that
Yeah.
level is, he
Yeah.
could tell you. If you need money above that level, it has to be voted on,
Yeah,
and it has to be in the town
yeah,
warrant.
yeah, yeah.
And they ask for those far enough ahead of time, because all of them have to go to the finance committee, and they have to give it their blessing or not.
No, he's got a whiteboard in his office and
Yeah.
we're number 3 on the whiteboard,
Yeah.
but I don't know if that means that
Right.
so I need to find out.
Yeah, so you
Okay.
need to find that
Yeah,
out,
thank you, because I-
And if it doesn't make the May meeting, sometimes they have special town meetings in the fall, who knows? All right, so the next date that I have is March 21st. So you can take a look at your calendars. And,
And confirm.
when are you coming back, Charlie?
End of March.
Oh,
Okay.
phenomenal.
You may or may not be here for the March 21st meeting?
No, I won't be here.
Okay, okay. So one more phone call.
But I'll call in.
Okay, yep. So if you could check the availability of the room, let us know. If it's not available, you could see if there's something else available, or we can change the date. But as of right now, let's aim for March 21st.
Okay.
There you go. Thank you, guys.
So we adjourned at 4:10.
4:10, all righty.
That's phenomenal.
Charlie, we'll catch you next time.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
My son just bought a new hybrid.
Really? What kind?
Same thing you drive.